Welcome back, fight fans, to another explosive episode on our channel. Just a few hours ago, the curtains closed on the monumental UFC 296, a tournament that will be etched in the MMA history for its sheer intensity and heart-stopping moments. Today, we're diving deep into a night that was nothing short of spectacular, focusing on three matchups that had the MMA community on the edge of their seats. First up, the battle of the bold and brash, Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. The main intrigue was whether Ferguson could break the terrible losing streak.
No controversy that time, man. No controversy at all.
Next, Shavkat Rakhmonov, the rising star, stepped into the octagon with MMA veteran Stephen Thompson in a fight that promised fireworks, and finally, the centerpiece of the night.
Colby Covington, I mean, this is a performance, dude, from you. Like, I'm fucking embarrassed, man, to you say that I'm American, the first responder, the men and women, blah, blah, blah. And you talked all that shit, and now, what do we get? You know, you're giving President Donald Trump a second place trophy. That's crazy, man. I would never make a spectacle of our president, have him sit front row, and then you absolutely try not to win.
The welterweight championship bout between Leon Edwards and Colby Covington. This wasn't just a fight for the belt, it was a clash charged with raw emotion and a quest for honor. Buckle up as we break down each bout, analyze the techniques, and relive the moments that left us breathless.
I'm fucking nerd.
Let's start Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. The rivals fueled this confrontation well. Tony Ferguson, a legend in his own right, stepped into the octagon facing a daunting challenge. With a six-fight losing streak casting a long shadow, the main intrigue was whether Ferguson could turn the tide and rediscover his old form. On the flip side, Paddy Pimblett, riding the wave of a six-fight winning streak, was looking to cement his place among the lightweight elites. From the opening bell, Pimblett unleashed a barrage of dangerous attacks. Tony was hopelessly losing the rounds and appeared absolutely helpless. On the other hand, it was surprising how patiently Ferguson endured all the attacks from his opponent, likely due to his survival training with David Goggins.
I tried to get in the fucking head. I got a video the other day of this UFC fighter, Ferguson. This motherfucker weighs in, and the UFC is fucking canceled. You gotta fucking do what you do, fucking do. You understand what I'm saying? You gotta be you, Tony.
However, the fight went to a decision by the judges. The arbitrator's verdict surprised no one. Another welterweight fight between the undefeated Shavkat Rakhmonov and MMA veteran Stephen Thompson attracted special attention. Rakmanov has never lost in his professional career. Stephen Thompson himself did not hide the fact that he intends to arrange another title run. He is already 40 years old. He has been competing in the UFC since 2012 and has already applied for the belt twice, but to no avail. The pace at the start of the fight was a bit slow, but Rakmanov immediately showed what he was going to win. Having slightly pressed his opponent towards the net, he switched to clinch and passive control. Thompson would not allow himself to be moved, and the fight literally stalled as both fighters simply neutralized each other for half the round. Nevertheless, the Kazakhstani successfully closed the first round in his favor. The second round saw an escalation in the intensity of the exchanges, with Thompson demonstrating greater effectiveness in his strikes. However, Rakmanov persisted with his strategy, driving the fight back to the net. Thompson, showcasing his exceptional defensive skills, resisted being taken down for an extended period. In a remarkable display of technique and endurance, Rakmanov executed a chokehold flawlessly. Thompson, known for his endurance, found himself in a precarious position, but ultimately had to submit with just 5 seconds remaining in the round. This victory marked Rakmanov's 18th consecutive win, all achieved ahead of schedule, a record that stands out in the welterweight division. Notably, this was the first time Thompson was defeated using submission techniques, underscoring Rakmanov's exceptional skill set. The win over Thompson, a respected and seasoned fighter, solidifies Rakmanov's status as a legitimate contender for the title. But the last word goes to Dana White, who will fight for the title next. We'll find out soon. And finally, the main events of the evening, Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. The fight was of a title nature. The UFC welterweight champion belt was at stake. Leon Edwards came out not only to defend his championship belt, but also to avenge the insult to the memory of his late father.
That man is as good as dead tomorrow. Make sure he keeps everything he said about my dad. Just tomorrow, we settle it.
What about all the victims of the harm that Leon's father did to them? He was a sex trafficker. He was a drug lord. He killed people. The guy's a scumbag. Why would I feel bad for that? I have no sympathy for that guy. What about all the victims' families that live on right now, that have to live through all the things that he did to them, how he tormented those people? So no, I don't feel bad for him. The truth hurts, and that's why people hate me, because I'm not scared. I'm not afraid to say the truth, and you know, the truth is what always stings the worst. It is what it is.
From the very beginning of the fight, Leon took the initiative and began to act very cautiously but convincingly. Colby didn't seem like himself at all. It was evident that the difference in speed was significant, with Edwards clearly outpacing his opponent. However, neither fighter was willing to take risks, and both proceeded with caution. But the first round went to the champion's piggy bank. In the second 5-minute round, Leon acted carefully because he understood that he needed to protect the belt at any cost. But soon, the public began to be indignant as the title fight began to turn into a constant movement of fighters with a minimum number of attacks. In the third round, Colby finally became more active, while Leon responded by targeting low kicks and attempting to disrupt Colby's leg. This prompted Covington to attempt a wrestling move, but Edwards managed to stand his ground. Moving into the fourth round, Colby narrowly avoided a critical error, but ultimately managed to escape. Leon confidently steered the match towards his victory. The conclusion of the fourth 5-minute period was particularly exciting, as both fighters took the initiative several times and delivered an entertaining spectacle. In the fifth round, both fighters engaged in battle. Initially, Covington had control over the situation, but Edwards came dangerously close to finishing the fight twice. Ultimately, Colby managed to regain a dominant position and completely dominated the latter part of the 5-minute period. The match went to a judge's decision, but there was little suspense in the outcome. It was evident that the championship belt would remain with the reigning champion, but Covington was even sure that he won this fight. However, Covington's return to the octagon was unsuccessful. In the end, all three judges awarded the victory to Edwards with a score of 49-46. Leon extended his winning streak and took a significant step toward a potential bout with Makhachev. Or who will be Edwards' next opponent?
I don't have to be next. And also, this right is bullshit, man. We have to change the champion.
With Colby and his performance tonight, obviously the time away from the cage probably was a factor, but do you think there was pressure on him, like, you know, involving Trump to the level he did, wanting the belt wrapped around by him, 35 years old, potentially last title shot? Do you think maybe the pressure got to him a little bit?
Yeah, I think pressure gets to everybody. I'm sure Leon had a ton of pressure. I mean, he was just talking about what he said about his father, and, you know, the last thing you want to do is now go out and lose to that guy. All these guys deal with pressure. But Colby's been in big fights before. This isn't Colby's first rodeo. He's been in big fights, and Colby just looks slow and old tonight, in my opinion.
Middleweight title contenders Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis held a dress rehearsal for their upcoming match with a full-on brawl on the floor at UFC 296 in Las Vegas. The initiator of the brawl was the current UFC champion, who attacked his opponent, jumping over 2 rows of chairs and struck him several times. After the security service separated the fighters, the American was taken out of the hall. Shortly after this, the middleweights commented on the incident on the social network.
Well, I guess as soon as we walked in, we sat that close to each other. I almost knew that this isn't a great idea, but, you know, he turned around and I said, what are you looking at? And he said, what are you going to do? And I don't know, there was some words, not even sure what it was. He got the kids out of the way and No, it's almost like it wasn't nothing was going to happen, and then he just jumped over the chair at me, and yeah, you know, the rest is history. You can see it on the video, but I mean, now I know the man punches like a girl. I understand his finish rate being 33% makes a lot of sense. I can't believe that man drops anyone. But like I said, come 20th of January, the security won't be there to save his life when I'm on top of him.
That's all for today. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.